Hi, my name is Nav and I'm the founder of the Washing Machine Project. Keep listening to Voice It Out.
Hi, it's Amrita and I'm back with another episode of the Voice Out podcast. Today's guest is actually really inspirational. He is the founder of the Washing Machine Project, but he's an engineer by trade. It's Dr. Navjot Sawhney. Hello.
Hi, Amrita. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
So good. I biked it here.
You biked it here?
Yeah, I'm really into biking right now.
Wow, I wish I could be that person. I'm just not that person. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I think, as I said, you as a person are really inspirational, but the mission that you have is even more kind of needed, I think, but also quite inspirational. So first of all, you are an engineer.
Yeah.
How did the Washing Machine Project come about after you qualifying as an engineer? Was it something that, is it something that you kind of wanted to do charity wise, or is it something that came about?
Well, it's amazing that you say I'm an engineer because, I feel like right now I'm like a therapist, a financial assistant, a lawyer, and, I'm so far from the engineering right now. I can't even explain it. But I mean, I studied engineering because I was a really curious child. I was fascinated with how things worked. My father was an aerospace engineer.
Okay.
And he would take me to air shows when I was a kid, seven years old, and I'd be fascinated with how these big aircraft would go into the sky. I'd come back home. I would take a toolbox outside of the cupboard. I would take apart appliances, whether it's the TV or the remote or a plug or a phone. I would not know how to put back the appliance together, and that used to make my mum really angry.
Oh, really?
And so that I was just fascinated with how things worked on the inside. And unfortunately, my father passed away when I was a child, and I was raised single-handedly by my mum and my two older sisters. And I realized that, how hard it was for women, especially brown women, navigating society. So I was really interested in, women empowerment and just making women's lives better in any way that I can. And, I think being Indian and especially Punjabi, we have every Punjabi family has a story of displacement, in their lives, whether it's their parents or their grandparents. And so my dad and my mum's parents, my grandparents on my maternal side, they all suffered during the partition. So displacement was also something that was very personal to me as a kid growing up. So whether it was engineering, women empowerment, displacement, these are the kind of three key themes that have run through my life. And studying engineering at university was a kind of natural transition for me. I was fascinated with how things worked. I was really interested in numbers. But, as a kid, I didn't really know what I wanted to do after university. And, I was just so focused on getting a really good graduate job. I didn't realize, that there was so much opportunity out there for me. I just wanted to get the next best career, essentially. Yeah. So I was applying for defense companies and appliance manufacturers and automotive manufacturers, and I got a really good job at one of the most innovative companies around the world, Dyson. Oh, wow. I joined that graduate program and I was there for 3 years, but I realized every bit of good engineering that I was doing was just making a vacuum cleaner for a rich person. So I decided to quit my job. And, you're Indian, I'm Indian. If you told your parent or parents that you want to quit your job and do something more altruistic, they would have kind of thought you're going crazy.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, my mum's reaction to me wanting to go volunteer in India for 1 year making cook stoves was a conversation that didn't go down well back in 2017. Yeah. It's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to help. As an engineer, you can help the planet or you can hinder the planet. And I wanted to do something that was aligned to my own values. So I found myself in India for 1 year making cook stoves. And I was making cook stoves for people who use wood to cook their food. So 50% of the world still use wood to cook their food. And it was a fascinating experience. You know, on Monday we'd have an idea. Tuesday we would be able to create that idea. Wednesday the prototype would be in the field. And by Thursday the person that was using that cook stove would already been able to give us feedback.
It's pretty fast.
And then by Friday we'd have learnt how rubbish our idea was, you know. And by Monday we'd already have a new idea. So this is a problem that affected women. You know, women have to unfortunately gather wood to cook food, and it is kind of time saving. It's just time starving them, you know. And in the village I was staying in India, I was next door neighbours with a lady called Divya, and you know, meeting Divya, I didn't know it then, but now I know she completely changed my life. She changed my life. She changed everyone around me's lives and hundreds of thousands of people around the world. And it was through that conversation with Divya that I started the washing machine project.
So the story that I have read, even though this background I didn't know about, that you obviously went volunteering for a year, and that's how this kind of happened. So this neighbour that you met, obviously you said to her you will build her a washing machine because she was spending so many hours a week trying to wash clothes, right? Yeah, and also it was having an impact on her body.
Yeah, I mean, I used to walk past Divya's house, and you know there'd be a blackout. It'd be the kind of fourth blackout of the day, and Sugama, her 7-year-old son, was just studying in the darkness. And I was like, Sugama, why are you studying in the dark? He's like, well, there's no electricity, and we don't have a torch. I was like, here, have my phone for light. You know, some basic things that I took for granted. You know, people weren't using. You know, and. I said, you know, it was like probably the kind of 4th month in a row where I saw Divya every single day, like hand washing clothes outside the house. And I was like, Divya, I'll just buy you an electric washing machine. She said, I don't have a generator and I don't have running water. So your electric washing machine doesn't mean anything to me. So it's at that point, there's a video online of me promising Divya, I will come back one day and I will make you a washing machine. So that's why we've created the Divya manual washing machine.
Yes. And obviously this has gone to so many different countries now, and it's helping out, like you said, all those percentage of people that are hand washing clothes and they don't have electricity. They want to obviously make it easier for themselves. And like you said, this is having the most impact on women, right, around the world. When you first had the working protocol of this Divya washing machine, how did it feel for you?
I have always never had a plan, you know. I've always felt like, you know, this happened so organically, and you know, I never had a 5-year plan, and I never figured out that, you know, I wanted to be in 15 countries, and you know, I never knew that I was going to employ people and have global partnerships and whatever we have right now. So for me, it was like, what can I do next? And what I did next was I enrolled into another degree. I did a master's in humanitarianism. Because I really wanted to understand how things worked, and you know, whether it's the UN or government or other ways to get aid to people. And little did I know that degree and the people that were studying with me would change the trajectory of my life. So, you know, one of my friends on the course was, you know, really high up in a international organization called Care International, and he invited me to Iraq, and he said, Nav, why don't you test out your prototype in Iraq? We have a space next week, you should come. And I said, yeah, but we didn't have one. We didn't have a prototype. So my friend Alex, who I met on my graduate program in Dyson, helped me. You know, on Friday we met and we spent Saturday and Sunday like just prototyping this machine. It was actually built off a salad spinner in a kitchen, in my mum's kitchen, and we don't use that salad spinner anymore for food.
Good to know.
But on Monday we flew out to Iraq, and by Friday we had tested that prototype with 79 families, Yazidi families, and that report is still on our website. We wrote a report, and that feeling of getting something that you've created in the hands of someone that needs it it's a feeling that that never gets old, even to this day, 7 years later. And Oxfam saw that and they bought the first 50 machines.
That's amazing. I think that, like Oxfam is obviously a very well-renowned charity. And I think that is actually amazing. But like you said, that feeling doesn't get old.
No.
You absolutely, obviously feel it now as well. And obviously it's such a successful thing that you've done. But is there any kind of, I think I saw on one of your platforms that you had a pinch me moment recently at Versace during Versace on the Square.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
With our current mayor, Sadiq Khan. But have there been a lot of pinch me moments during your journey?
Yeah, I mean, it's surreal. But for me, it's how do I make the most impact? And for me, it's like reading the stories of people that have received a machine and how they've used it. So I was reading recently of a lady called Emily who received our machine in the Republic of Congo, who has now now more time to spend with her family. I've also read stories of some families, 3 families in Uganda who have now started earning money off the machine, and they've been able to send their kids to school and pay their debts at the school for the first time ever. Wow. And it means that they can progress through school and get on with life. I've heard of a lady in India for the first time ever has felt love from her husband because he's now doing the washing instead of her.
I love that.
And there's thousands of these stories that I read over the years, and okay, fine, we won the Time Magazine Invention of the Year last year, and that's great. And we've won awards with current and past prime ministers, and that's great. But stories like the ones that I've just said mean more to me than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you do a lot of traveling with this, the washing machine project. Is there any place that you've been that has impacted you, not just because of the stories or how the machine is helping people, but just generally just you, that, oh my God, that these people are actually in this state or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's appropriate to this day and age, right, where we see conflicts around the world, but and it's nothing to do with washing machines, actually. It's a lady that I met in Lebanon, probably in 2021 now. Her name is Kausik. She has 10 children, and she was in a refugee camp in Lebanon. She's Syrian. And at that point, she had been there for about 10 years. So she was living in a tent, and she had 10 kids in this tent. And this is in the middle of the desert in Bekaa Valley in Lebanon. Beautiful place. And it's hot, 40 degrees. And I was walking past with my translator, and I said to my translator, why does Kausik have a bush planted in front of our house in this desert? There's like nothing here. And the translator asked Kausik, and Kausik said, when I had my home in Syria, which is now bombed, I used to have a beautiful garden, and I loved looking after my garden. It gave me life. And this bush that I planted 2 years ago reminds me of that. And that is what keeps me going now. And I think that's very moving. That's a very moving, very real story of someone who has had so much bad luck. This could happen to me. It could happen to my family. It could happen to my friends. And it's just so unfortunate that it happened to Kausik. And it's happening to millions of people around the world. And we should do what we can to support them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think stories like that do have a lot of impact. And I think what I'm hearing from you is you like to stay on the ground as well. You want to meet the people who really need help. And you are obviously, like you said, you are very moved by personal stories of different people in different countries, not just war-torn countries. There are other countries as well where people are obviously destitute. If you could, in your journey with the washing machine project, if you could have had more of an impact, or, you know, even in the journey rather than where you are now, do you think there's anything that you think maybe was stopping you or anything, or have you decided that, you know what, actually this is, because you haven't planned, you think this is actually where I'm meant to be right now, or is there something you would have changed?
Yeah, and also, not only do I love the stories of people that we've impacted with the machine, I love the stories of how people have been impacted in countries like the UK or the US, where people have seen the washing machine project. And, you know, I received an email just last week of this lady called Nicole, who said, you know, she gave us a significant amount of money through our website. And she said, you know, my dad saw one of your billboards at a bus stop, and it said, you know, that Sylvia is now using the machine to start her own business, you know. And Nicole's mum was called Sylvia, and, you know, and Nicole's mum died, you know, recently, and her dad linked Sylvia, his wife, to Sylvia in the billboard, and I thought it was really beautiful.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
I hear loads of stories of how, you know, some of our volunteers have, you know, had a new lease of life when it's, you know, things that they've done when they've lost a job or retired, and, you know, want to have their own legacy. So, you know, that's beautiful for me as well. You know, it's impacting not only people receiving machines, but people who work or see the washing machine project. And to your question, you know, I feel like this is destiny for me. This is, in Punjabi or Hindi, this is called kismet. Actually, in Arabic as well, same word. And for me, like, I want to do this for as long as I can. I want to do this for the rest of my life, but it's not if it's in my destiny, I will. And if there's something else for me, then so be it. But I'll do it for as long as I can.
I think that is really commendable, because I think even if you do see the stories and you see the kind of, you've explained some very positive stories, but obviously you've just mentioned one that has been quite moving. Have you felt any trauma in your journey? Have you felt like, oh my God, I can't get past this person's individual circumstances, like in your mind or whatever? And if you have, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think processing stories is really important. I think I have a lot of empathy for the people that use our machines and people that are going through suffering. It's interesting when you ask that question. I just remember my colleague Hugo, and we were struggling a few years back, we were struggling to get machines out the door, and we were at King's Cross Station going down the escalators, and Hugo just started crying. He was like, they need this, you know, and we're too slow, you know. People are needing us right now, and we're not being able to serve them. So I said, you know, like, everything has to take time. We have to do it sustainably. And, you know, when I speak to my mum now, who was very unsupportive of my endeavours when I quit my work at Dyson, she's the biggest fan of the washing machine project. She says, now you're working too hard, you know. You have to do this. If you want to do this for the rest of life, you have to act like you're going to do it for the rest of life. And one of my mentors, Aftal Aziz, he's an amazing person. He's like, you know, the who's who when it comes to purpose. He's the Forbes contributing writer. He said, you know, in social impact and social entrepreneurship, they're often the people that are the brightest in the room. However, they are also the ones that are first to burn out, you know. And, you know, when something's so bright, it's just, it burns, you know.
Yeah. And
I thought that was a really good analogy of me, you know, where, you know, I've burnt out so many times. I wrote a journal. I write journals. I write a journal every single morning, and I've been doing that for the last 500 days, so a year and a half. And I've put that into ChatGPT. Yeah. And I got it to analyze my feelings and emotions. And apparently, on average, I burn out every 21 days.
Wow. Every 3 weeks.
every 3 weeks, I go hard from 5 a.m. to like 8 p.m. every single day. And then I just like deep dive into like burnout for 3-4 days. Then I go through like a loop of gratitude. I'm so thankful for where I am and my position. And then I go hard for another 2 to 3 weeks. And that's not sustainable, you know, so I need to do something about that. And, you know, yeah, I could go on more and more about this, but
I think the one thing that I'll pick
for
up
another episode.
The one thing that I will pick up from what you said is you write a journal every morning, and I think that is, in a way, even though you've just spoken about burnout, that is in a way you look after your mental health.
I do
because of that.
I meditate every day as well.
Okay.
I go for a 15,000 step walk every day, but I need to do more. I need to stop eating cheese, or limit my cheese, chocolate, and crisps.
I can't. Yeah, I was going to say I really wish I could stop eating cheese as well. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, but you know, like sleep is so important.
Yeah,
and I was measuring sleep, and 7.5 hours is the perfect amount, but you know, sometimes I don't get that. And you know, my sisters have just had kids, and my best friend has 2 kids now, and you know, they're struggling, man. And when I have kids in the next few years, it's gonna be really interesting how I balance everything.
I love that you said interesting. I was waiting for which word you'd use.
I can't wait. I'm excited for the next phase of my life.
Of course. But at the same time, I think what you've highlighted here is that you have recognised, forget the ChatGPT bit, but you have recognised, or you've done something to recognise that you actually are burnt out. And I think that is the start of it, because like you've said, I need to do more about it.
Yeah.
And I think that is commendable in the job that you do. Yeah. Because of your passion, because it's very evident that you are passionate about it, but also because of the stories that you hear. They're not always positive, and the environments you are in are not always great environments. And I think it is really important that you identify that, even though you're saying it's a work in progress.
Yeah, I'm always going to be learning on how to do better, right? And in the work that we've done, we've seen the worst of humanity. We've also seen the best in humanity, and that's encouraging. Absolutely.
I was going to ask you, actually, you are a driver of change, and you have been that since you've started the washing machine project.
I don't feel like that,
but you definitely are. You definitely are. I was going to ask you, how does it feel to be that person? But if you say you don't identify as that,
no, I just wanted to make a washing machine for my next door neighbour, and then it became a washing machine for people in Iraq, and then now it's for washing machines in 15 countries around the world. So for me, it's like I just get really frustrated. I get really frustrated that we're sending rockets to the moon. We're making some amazing innovations. Parts of the world are prospering beyond our wildest imaginations. But, Divya and her friends and other people around the world are going to go to the river today and spend at least 2 to 3 hours hand washing clothes. Mm-hmm. I think that's wild.
It is.
As an engineer, I'm getting frustrated thinking about it. And whilst I have time and the skills, I want to work on something that's going to have positive change on the world. And okay, fine, we're going to have robots in 40 years, but everyone's going to... it's funny because I'm laughing because I was at a roundtable discussion about AI in Downing Street in October last year, and one of the attendees, who's like the godmother of AI, she was one of the Time magazine's most influential people last year, Ai Weiwei. I said, how does AI and the washing machine project go together? She's like, well, we'll have robots doing our laundry. I was like, perfect, thank you.
That's so funny. Thanks. That's so funny to say that to you as well.
Yeah, I was like, thanks. So yeah.
I was going to ask you, even though you just said you don't feel like you're that person, do you ever feel the pressure? Because you said you do get frustrated with the way that things are, maybe some attitudes you get frustrated with as the journey has gone on. Do you feel the pressure of, oh my God, I want to do more? Or, oh my God, I want to change more kind of thing? Yeah. Do you feel that pressure?
Yeah, I do. I feel the pressure of making payroll for my my colleagues. You know, we're employing 15 to 20 people now. Over the next year, it'll be 30 people.
Yeah.
And I feel that pressure. I want to be around for a long time. I have to make difficult decisions. Sometimes they don't align with people's expectations. I feel the pressure of, you know, doing more. You know, we're only scratching the surface. 50% of the world hand wash clothes, and we've only impacted 100,000 people. So it's
long way to go.
What we're talking about is nothing, you know. But I was mentoring this kid yesterday. He's 25 years old, and he reminds me exactly of me. And he's so frustrated at himself. You know, he's like, I need to do more. I need to do more. And for me, I don't have that urgency. You know, like I feel like the older that I get, the more dimmer I'm getting, you know. And for me, like mentoring that kid yesterday gave me that kind of like, come on, Nav, like
a little smart.
Come on, just keep going, you know. Like there's a long way to go here. So yeah, I and that's me comparing myself to me 5 years ago, and everyone who meets me knows that I'm like very ambitious. Yeah. And so I guess I'm my own critic, I guess.
It's good. I think it's a good thing to be your own critic, but at the same time, don't box yourself in your own self. Yeah. If you get what I mean. Yeah. What's next for you? Like, obviously, you've said you've collaborated with so many different organisations and charities through the Washing Machine Project. You're obviously doing really different things, like appearing at Versace on the Square for one.
Yeah.
What's next? Is there a specific goal you have, or do you have things in the pipeline that are going to, you know, create more of a splash, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, so we've been really successful at getting corporate partnerships on board, the likes of Whirlpool, Domestic and General, RS, Jaguar Land Rover. These are all partners that have helped us develop and deploy machines. That's been brilliant. We're now setting up an organization in India, manufacturing at scale, 10,000 machines a year in India. And we're going to start selling our machines to people who want to buy them. And I'm excited by that because that's something that we haven't done at scale before. And I'm excited to explore what new products could look like, whether that's more products in laundry or other products. And I want to speak more about unpaid labour and the burden on women when it comes to unpaid labour. So if you go online, I've done more than 50 podcasts. I've spoken to every single media agency around the world, and you know, I've appeared on stages everywhere. Like at any opportunity, I'll talk about this issue and other issues and try and highlight this as a thing that people should care about.
I think that is probably the biggest impact you could have, to just use your voice to try and highlight, as you said, raise awareness about this particular issue. But also, like you said, you've got innovations that you think there might be different things that you might venture into, which I think is
and my team are really excited by that. And by 2030, we want to get to 1 million people. So we're only 10% there. So we have 4 years to exponentially increase our impact. And it's going to be a great ride.
Absolutely, and we wish you all the best with that. I
love this, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Really cool. And you guys didn't see it, but there's a lot of attention to detail.
Much attention to detail.
But yeah, you should be really proud.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really sweet of you to say. And on that note, I'm going to move to the this or that section. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, there's 6, by the way, and you can explain if you want to your answer, or you don't have to.
Okay. I feel pressure. You talked about pressure. I feel pressure now. I'm joking. You're good. I
don't know what to say. Okay. So the first one is... Okay, I'm going to choose which one to go first. Public speaking or writing skills?
Public speaking.
Okay.
I'm a terrible writer.
Are you?
But I feel like...
I thought you had a blog.
I do, but I'm a better public speaker, I think.
Okay. That's fair enough. Ocean or lake?
I'm scared of deep water.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm scared of drowning. I think it's because I nearly drowned when I was a kid. Probably.
Oh, no.
That's another... Let's add that to the next episode.
Love that. To be continued.
So probably lake.
Okay, cool. First to arrive or last to leave?
Both.
I had a feeling, when I wrote this down, I actually thought you would say that.
Yeah, I'm always like the hardest worker in the room. So like I'm in the office at 5:30 and I'll leave at like 7 o'clock.
Wow.
If I'm not traveling or have other arrangements.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Silence or chatter?
Both.
At different times, hopefully.
Yeah, I've been learning to keep quiet, but finding it difficult. So
Why have you been learning to keep quiet?
Because it's good to listen, right? Ajay Singh Banga. He's the president of the World Bank. He used to be the former CEO of MasterCard. He says, God gave you 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth for a reason.
I love that. I'm going to remember that. Okay. Constant engagement or finally content?
Constant engagement.
Okay.
I've been trying to encourage my team to do this, which is like, don't aim for perfection.
Yeah.
Aim for like just iterative.
Being consistent, I guess.
Yeah, just turning up every single day. Iterative. I don't want to see the final thing. I want to see it being worked on, you know.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Okay, there's one more. Scheduled relaxation or finding downtime?
Scheduled relaxation, probably.
So you schedule it in your diary?
Yeah, I think that it correlates to like what I was saying earlier about going hard for like 2 or 3 weeks. But again, I currently don't have any responsibilities, so I really empathize with people that have, you know, lives that they can't do the things that I do. So it's not for everyone. Yeah.
But work-life balance is a thing. It can be a thing.
Yeah.
Nav, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I think I am hugely inspired by you anyway, but speaking to you today, I think I'm even more inspired. I feel like you're doing such a great thing for such a great cause.
Thank you.
And you are obviously moving kind of thing. You want to be better, and I think that's really commendable.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I think for me, the last thing I want to say is like, for anyone that's listening, watching, you know, find your problem, fall in love with it. Don't worry about the solution, because that always changes, but the problem will always stay there. So, yeah, fall in love with the problem, because, you know, solutions will always change.
That is such a great food for thought ending. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Just to end, I just want you to share where we find you on socials.
You can check out the Washing Machine Project on, I think, every social. So, yeah, the Washing Machine Project on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Find us on there. Oh, and you'll also be able to see me hand washing clothes in the River Thames.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, did you do that recently?
Oh, we do. We hand wash clothes everywhere.
That's amazing.
Because, you know, what it's normal in other parts of the world, so why shouldn't it be normal here?
So true. So true. Thank you so much. I'm going to end it there. I feel like I have a lot to say, but I actually don't, because I'm so like, oh my God, at this episode. Just thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time. So this is Amrita signing out. Remember, we don't want to keep it in. We want to voice it out.